Hi, my name is Abhishek Dubey and my topic for IEP video submission is Education Problems in India. Education problems in India have been in existence for quite some time now and these continue to dog the concern. India has reached a remarkable achievement in the economic sector and this has brought a lot of changes in the education sector as well. But these have turned out to not be sufficient. There are around 343 universities and 17,000 colleges in India, but still, more than 25% of Indian population is still illiterate. What are the major problems in India? Let's look at them one after the other. First, inadequate, improper distribution of funds or lack of it. Funds are the major reason for the education problem in India. If funds are available, they are not being used effectively. At times, lack of funds hampers education, and many times the funds are just inadequate to solve the issue. According to a study, 30% of the education funds are allocated towards higher education, leaving the primary education in a lurch. The other key concern is the ever increasing population of India. India is the second most populous country in the world. The population of India is around 1.2 billion and it is still increasing, and by the time you finish listening to this, it would have already increased by another 150 or 200. Illiteracy of large population supports further illiteracy, and poverty itself is a factor which encourages illiteracy. The next problem being demand far exceeds the supply. A classic case is that of a shortage of teachers. The student to teacher ratio is not balanced. Some of the rural schools have the faculty which is not qualified, which further degrades the quality of education. For example, a classroom of one teacher has 50 students. This ratio is highly improper for a single teacher to educate 50 students, that too in a collective manner, which is highly ineffective. And the other reason being the pay scales are very low in these schools, which further demotivates the teacher to put in efforts for imparting education. Also, noteworthy is the inadequate funding by the government, which is only enough to provide basic education at the primary level. A number of teachers refuse to teach in rural areas, and those who do are usually underqualified. Many teachers lack the enthusiasm to teach due to their meager salary. Faulty education policies. Earlier, it was the British education policy which served the British Empire. Today, the education policy of India favors those who are rich and affluent. The majority of the Indian population is poverty stricken. Government schools for these have a poor management and poor quality of education. Much of the quality education is provided by private schools affiliated to CBSE and CISE, whose curriculum is advanced and in conformity with the worldwide education system. But not all are able to afford these schools and are deprived of quality education. The other major reason is the approach of educators and higher authorities. When good results matter more than how they are achieved, it becomes clear that education is considered a mere formality and just a qualification. Result driven schools make it easy for students to pass the exams through various unfair means. Assistance during exams, revealing answers to acquire minimum pass percentage for weak students, acceptance of bribes to favor students in certain subjects, and many other practices make the education system a hollow one. The other concern being the non-involvement of citizens. Indian citizens rarely raise their voice against these issues, and if they do, the motivation doesn't last long. Unity becomes an issue when there are so many disparities among the Indian populace. They cannot raise their voices on things which they are themselves not confident about. Mass protests are more politically motivated than people motivated. Education authorities themselves don't encourage participation of parents or common people whilst making and implementing education policies. Individual efforts are snubbed and mass participation is not guided properly. So, what are the possible solutions to the current education problems in India? Population control through various campaigns, awards, and other incentives and increments who set an example in favor of population control. Teachers need to be professionally trained, adequately paid, and well motivated. India's entire education system should be redesigned to favor employment, nullify the poverty aspect, and improve the quality of education at every level, especially the primary education. frequent curricular revisions to remove, edit, or delete obsolete chapters and bring quality in education, provide minimum wages to unemployed educated candidates, aggressive awareness campaigns in rural areas to negate the negative attitude of the rural population. An alternative examination process in form of internal assessment can be set up where students are evaluated by their teachers. The state university system should be expected to provide even more educational opportunities to the rural population. Private sectors, contributions from philanthropists and industry should be encouraged. Accountability of higher authorities need to be sensitized and effectively implemented through law and special courts which can provide speedy decisions.